Sargent, and I'm a school's course facilitator for the England region within School of Hard Knocks. My brief summary of my career path would be that after A-levels, because of my maybe poor choices to be as engaged as I probably should have been, sort of meant that I didn't get the grades that I wanted, so I decided that to go to college part-time to do an access course to university. Alongside this, I was coaching rugby part-time, swimming, and I was a lifeguard. So after getting my grades in college to go to university in Bedfordshire, I did a degree in sport and physical education, which I got a 2-1 in. It was a bit more my style. Then following that, I decided to stay over here and was originally interested in a teaching career. So I did 2 years within Verulam and St Albans as a cover supervisor or a cover teacher. After that point, I sort of decided that I didn't really sort of want to go down that route, just for maybe the fact that I taught so many different lessons, from maths, definitely not a strong point, to art, to drama, which a bit more probably down my line, and then obviously PE specifically. I've always had an interest in sport, always from a young age, and I think that's massive from my parents. Have maybe pushed me to do as much as I could do and as much as I wanted to do, which sort of has been instilled in me from a very young age, which I feel has maybe made me mostly to the person I am today. Without sports, I would have been lost, definitely, when I was younger. Key motivation for working with School of Hard Knocks is I always remember the influence and the impact and the impression that my PE teacher made on me and my friends at school, and how much he could inspire us just by doing little things, just by being consistent and sort of doing that bit extra for us, I suppose, as our rugby coach and just as our PE teacher. So I think that's originally why I wanted to go into teaching, because I think that you can make have more of an impact on kids at the age when they're teenagers. But obviously 2 years being in Verulam, I sort of noticed that the role of the PE teacher, they didn't have as much contact time and with the specific types of kids that maybe needed as much help as they did. So obviously then having a bit of experience 4 years ago working just as a coach, I sort of realised the impact that you can have and how much influence that just even one session a week for a couple of hours can have on a kid. So I think this is a main motivation for me at the minute. It's the reward around, away from everything else. It's the reward that you see whenever the kids or the pupils sort of start to get what you're trying to put across them, and they start to make positive changes for themselves, and then when they start to really take control of their lives and make good choices and sort of being that positive role model for them, it's massive to me. And it sort of leads on to my proudest moment, which is difficult because it's not really singular. There's always something maybe trumps it the week after, or obviously not every day is the best day of my life. There's some tough days, but I suppose you can't have a rainbow without the rain. So proudest moment would be the time, I think it was last Wednesday, one of the boys who's not really that physically developed, and he sort of has been very disengaged in our rugby sessions because of his physical stature, and just when we started doing the contact element, it sort of scared him a bit, which is understandable, and because they've got some big boys in the group. But I think last week was the first time that he decided just to take that plunge as such, and just try it and give it a go. And he took down the biggest boy on the pitch. But the best bit was, it's not the fact that he took the kid down, it's just his reaction after. I think he realised that how much of a challenge that was to him, and how he reacted once he'd overcome that. The smile on his face, even though he was probably hurting like hell, but the smile on his face and just the way he responded to it was just incredible. And then even I saw him today again, and just that smile is still on his face, and he's just buzzing about doing the rugby. Even though rugby's a small part of it, just that stood sung really, really loud for me. What makes School of Hard Knocks successful is probably the ethos that's installed. I feel it's a sink or swim sort of situation. Some people can cope with the job that we have. Obviously, especially, well, for me personally, because I'm obviously specific to schools, I feel you either sink or you swim and you deal with it. And we always say to the kids about being in neutral, and like a swan, on top of the surface they look beautiful and elegant, and then underneath their legs are going to the clappers and they're kicking like mad just to get going. But with that, I think it is when you swim and you start to notice a difference, then you can take the knocks more and more and more, and you get used to it. I think coming on it has been like this just new role for me last year has really challenged me and made me grow. And like having, well, I suppose one of the things that we sort of try to adhere to is like a growth mindset, and having a growth mindset and understanding that I have faults and I have weaknesses, and being able to work on them and sort of try and fix them and be better myself. And as we always say to kids, just be a better version of yourself. And I think because every like employee of the charity sort of lives by that, be the best version of yourself, that's why it makes School of Hard Knocks successful, and that's why I love working for the charity.